Okay, hi, my name's James, and I'm part of Mediroo, and we came here this weekend to develop a chatbot to improve health and medication adherence. So we know that in Australia alone, 50% of Australians suffer from one or more chronic disease, and there's also an alarming fact that within 15 minutes of a consult with a healthcare professional, up to 70% of people forget the information that they were told by their healthcare professional. So this also leads on to that 100,000 Australians back in 2014 ended up in the hospital for under or overdosing on their medication, and this has a massive impact on the public health sector. So what we've noticed, and in talks recently with a lot of people, specifically our advisors from the UQ School of Pharmacy, is that there's been a lot of fantastic research to show that single one-way communication of push notifications, whether that be text or on the app for different demographics, improves medication adherence dramatically. But there is room for improvement, and that's why we came along here to build an open source two-way communication platform for medication adherence, which hasn't been done before. So what we did is we created Roo, and Roo's going to help us basically create a two-way means of communication so we can study this multivariate problem that is medication adherence. So I'd like to thank James and the other guys from our team. Absolutely heroic effort to build our Firebase backend, which integrates with Dialogflow from the Google Cloud Services, and then through Flutter to basically create our front end. Unfortunately, we didn't make it there. We got really close. We just needed to do a few more things to build some more advanced connections. But the whole process is working. It's just we can advance a little bit more in a few different aspects. But what Roo was hoping to do was we basically have all these different medications, all these different symptoms, and we wanted to start to explore a little bit along the routes of integrating behavioural science and stuff like that, so that we could sort of emulate some of the stuff that's being done over in the US, but more specifically in the medication adherence space. So what we know and what we want to learn and evolve a little bit more with this platform down the line is how can we best motivate people to adhere to their medication? How can we appropriately provide information to educate people? And how can we best engage people? Because the research suggests, and I'd like to thank Yvonne and Alan for their input this weekend. It's just, we found out that medication adherence isn't just, something about whether you're forgetful on a daily basis. It's a lifestyle thing. It's, something that changes on a day-to-day basis, and it's a very complex, multivariate issue, and we'd love to explore that a little bit more and engage people with Roo. Thank you.
Woo. Cool. Chatbot. Yeah. Love it. So I think you hit the nail on the head. Similar to the care exchange, it's the emotional side, the cultural side of actually adopting something like this. So that's good that you're cognizant of that. No pun intended. But also then on top of that, what did you apply to this hack around some of that research, or even some of the information that you flowed through into? Did you do anything around the conversation as far as helping people with adherence? How did you take that? Because I just saw a chatbot. Yeah, so what we tried to do is, with the time that we had and the technical skills that we had, we got the basic going down in terms of the front end for the patient ID, user ID, that sort of thing, and the medication and their symptoms. But unfortunately, we needed a bit more time to sort of integrate that entirely. But the thing we'd want to do next would be, so ultimately what we'd like to do with this code is you'd have this workflow that we have, but we'd also have a survey that sort of researchers can input information that they want to, because there's a lot of papers. Interestingly, in the School of Pharmacy and stuff like that, they like to publish papers about the research that they're going to do. From my space, that never happens. I don't know, that's kind of weird for me. But there's a lot of research papers to say that, we'd love to integrate behavioural science, or there's some papers that suggest, education coupled with reminders that are tailored to the, users' daily schedules would be ideal. And if you can build a survey that sort of
you can enter sort of keywords that you want to target to a specific population, whether that be no education or education. That would be fantastic for us to look forward and develop a little bit more.
One of the reasons people stop medication is fake news. So they Google and they get information and they think, oh, I don't want to take this medication because it gives you this, that or the other problem. And then they stop it and they don't tell anybody, and then they come to the appointment and they haven't taken the medication. It wastes a whole lot of time and you've got to start all over again. So is there a way in which you could filter research on symptoms or medications into real news into this bot?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we all know that WebMD is the devil of the internet. And so what we wanted to do is we sort of wanted to push some information. So what we did on the weekend is we specifically just used cardiovascular disease as a focus. And we wanted to condense information from the Heart Foundation, for example. So get rid of all that fake news, basically just push through information that's probably the most valid out there on the internet.
I have to ask one. No, you don't have a question. That's
No, I actually think these guys do a great job.
perfect. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.